The Elisa Lam case is now closed. The Los Angeles coroner has ruled the Vancouver student's death as an accidental drowning. Lam's body was found in a water tank at the top of the Los Angeles Hotel where she'd been staying earlier this year. The 21-year-old had been traveling alone and was last seen January 31st.
I'm going to tell you before this video starts that there is going to be no definitive answer to this question. What happened to Elisa Lam and what dark energy surrounds the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, California? Now, if you're a skeptic and you think this is just another over-exaggerated case about a young girl with a mental illness, then I guarantee you by the end of this video, when you hear her story, you're going to have doubts about your decision.
Of Elisa Lam.
The year is 1927. The Cecil Hotel opens its doors in downtown Los Angeles amidst the roaring 20s and great economy. The lavish hotel caters to the wealthy and earns an early success and reputation. Fast forward a couple years to October 24th, 1929, when the United States finds itself amidst the worst market crash in American history. The Cecil Hotel starts to crumble over the next decade, and the area the hotel stands on becomes known as Skid Row. Overrun with prostitution and drugs, the hotel soon finds itself on the other side of the spectrum. 1947, Elizabeth Short stays at this hotel
the days
prior to her body being found in the notorious Black Dahlia case. 1984, Richard Ramirez calls the Cecil home as the notorious Night Stalker kills 13 victims. From 16 violent murders, an uncountable amount of suicides and violent crimes, this hotel possesses an unprecedented dark history. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old Cantonese student on a solo trip around the west coast of the United States to avoid the monotony of her college life, which was taking place at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. This is also where she and her family had resided. Suffering from bipolar disorder and depression, Lam was prescribed 4 medications to help her in her everyday life. She had no prior suicidal episodes and was very open with her mental illness, blogging frequently about her personal life. She was very close to her parents, and as any good parents would be concerned with a young girl traveling alone in California, had her call frequently to make sure she was alright. When Lam didn't check in one night with her parents, when she was destined to leave the Cecil Hotel on her travels, her parents reported her missing to the LAPD.
The footage you have been watching is the last known footage of Elisa Lam,
who would later be found on February 19th, floating lifeless, naked, in one of the water supply tanks for the hotel, and only reported because residents of the establishment said the water had a putrid taste and color. So Elisa Lam had a mental breakdown and took her life due to the known mental disorder she was suffering from, right? Well, possibly. Missing time. A few days after Elisa's parents reported her missing to the LAPD, they released this elevator footage from the day of her disappearance. The weird thing about the video is there's 56 seconds missing from the timestamp. Is it possible they edited the minute because someone appears in the tape who had been cleared of guilt? No way. It was released shortly after her disappearance, and nobody would have been cleared that quickly because no body had been found yet. The even weirder part about this elevator door, it won't shut no matter how frantically, how many buttons she presses. When a minute is cut out of the timestamp, the door inexplicably opens and closes, which would indicate someone hitting the outside button. What sends chills down my spine is when she first puts in all the floor numbers, the door starts to close, then opens back up. This can only be explained by something interfering with the laser indicating something has broken the line, like a person walking or someone out of the frame continuously pressing the floor button. In her toxicology report, she had no drugs in her system, but did not have one of her psychosomatic prescriptions either. I understand it looks like she is either on drugs or having a mental breakdown, but with the elevator not functioning correctly on the day she disappeared with behavior as though someone or something was following her. It's a coincidence I just can't allow myself to overlook. Before this next theory, I need to let you know that Elisa Lam was found in the rooftop water supply tank. The only way up there is with an access card. She was found naked with her clothes in the water next to her. At 5'6", 120 pounds, Elisa managed to open this heavy steel hatch as she jumped into a dark water tank, either nude or disclothed herself while in the tank. The coroner never performed a rape kit during the autopsy to see if foul play was involved. Know too much. This may seem far-fetched, maybe dismissible, but what's not unusual about this story? Although Elisa Lam had troubles attending all of her classes in college from her mental illness, she was a very intelligent young lady. But yes, it was indeed out of character for her to tweet about a Canadian company creating an invisibility cloak for their soldiers. In the footage, it appears as though she's feeling around for someone as she frantically fears that she's being followed. Not that this holds much credence, but adjacent to the Cecil Hotel stands the Invisible Light Agency that provides no website, but just an address and a phone number.
The person you are trying to reach is unavailable.
Could there be some correlation between this company and what she had tweeted about just 18 days before her death? Did she research or find something out she shouldn't have known? Was the Cecil Hotel a perfect staging zone for the government to test unknowing civilians to top secret weapons? Yes, this government conspiracy sounds a little far-fetched, but not the next one.
Lam, Elisa.
I'm not a medical professional, doctor, or microbiologist, but I certainly can add things up. In February of 2013,
A unique strand of
Mycobacterium tuberculosis hits the area of Skid Row to bring about the highest outbreak in decades. Elisa's lifeless body was found on February 19th, 2013. The best way to incubate pathogens to this disease would be to provide the perfect environment, such as water tanks not tainted by sunlight. When a person has this strain of the disease, it causes hallucination and delusion. This is due to destroyed electrons, which are essential for neurotransmitters. What do you think the name of the Mycobacterium tuberculosis test is called? The name is called Lam Elisa. Supposedly created in 2009, the test was considered a failure because it could only show 50.7% accuracy to the
Mycobacterium tuberculosis.
Is it possible someone infected Elisa Lam with the disease, threw her in the water tank, knowing it would be the easiest way to spread the disease, only to increase the price of the test from $435 to $600
A unit.
as well as increasing the test percentage to make it look more marketable and, to be blunt, murder someone to make more money? The coincidences do not stop here. Like I told you in the beginning of the video, you may believe this is a simple overreaction of a young girl with a mental illness that got blown out of proportion, but I still guarantee you that you are doubting your decision.